What is up, guys? It's Fernando back with another video. Today we will have my WWE Raw review for the August 3rd episode, the show right after SummerSlam, and we got a banger. Top to bottom, WWE continued the great weekend into Monday Night Raw, and they didn't slow down one bit. We got answers, we got the future, we got some mystery. We got it all. We got it all encapsulated in one show. So let's get into it. Start the show off, we have Roman Reigns, the segment. He comes to the ring and he basically tells everyone that he said that he was going to do everything he said he would. He won the Royal Rumble, he beat Punk, and he beat Seth Rollins, obviously, at SummerSlam. So he goes on and on and on, and he even kind of shouts out Seth Rollins and asks the Iowa crowd to acknowledge him. They start singing his song, and right after that, we get the answer that is LA Knight. LA Knight's music hits, and he interrupts Roman. He comes to the ring, and he begins to go at Roman, saying that he would be champion if Roman didn't use the bloodline, and it should be him versus one-on-one, and that Roman owes him a match for basically the world title. He called a shot, and in classic Roman Reigns fashion, he tries to little bro LA Knight like everyone else. He tries to little bro him. He calls out his cheap watch, his cheap gear, everything. Says that LA Knight's done nothing, absolutely nothing, to deserve a title shot. Which LA Knight rebuttals with that he's done everything. That Roman, that he is everything Roman's ever wanted to be. He was able to get over organically on the crowd. So they had a nice, real back and forth promo here to start the show off, and this obviously got us the answer of who's Roman Reigns' next opponent going to be. Everyone's wondering, are they going to start straight with Obafemi, or are they going to have someone else? And we have LA Knight, who he's had history with Roman, but again, this is history with Roman and the bloodline, and now it could just be straight up Roman versus LA Knight one-on-one, and I think this is a perfect feud for a Saturday, Sunday night's main event, or even a Money in the Bank. I hope more of a Money in the Bank, but Money in the Bank's a little bit of a reach. It's a little bit far. But this is just to get a holdover, because there is 0% chance that LA Knight's ever going to beat Roman Reigns one-on-one cleanly. So we can just get that fact out of the way. But it's going to give us the entertainment and something a little bit fresh and a little bit different from what they've done in the past, which I am completely all for. It's going to give LA Knight that main event star, that main event spotlight that everyone wants him to have, and he's going to get it here, obviously, with Roman Reigns. He's going to get his match, and he's going to lose, but he's going to be able to put himself on the map and potentially get himself even more over, and maybe down the line get somewhere further and maybe win a title. But for now, I thought this was an excellent way to open up the show. And then we get a match between Javon Evans and Ethan Page. This was a really, really good match. Secretly good. They go back and forth. Javon does his normal over the barricade jump. Ethan Page is working classic Ethan Page. They have some real good spots, confidence breaker, and then the match ends with Javon hurdling over Ethan Page, and the referee basically clears both of them on a jump, hits Ethan Page with the OG cutter, and Javon picks up the win. And as he's celebrating, he's pretty much immediately attacked by the returning Big Cass. Now, as for the match, I don't like Ethan Page losing, man. I really don't. He picked up that win over Ray last week, and I thought that was a good way that he was going to get catapulted into the Intercontinental scene and potentially be Chad Gable's first opponent. But I did not like the fact that he lost. But for the fact that it was Javon Evans, like Javon Evans, I think has so much potential. With him being that young and with him being that damn good, if he can just develop a mean streak, he could be something good. But he is immediately attacked by Big Cass, which I'm not the biggest fan of. Big Cass will go on later in the night to cut a backstage promo with Jackie Redmond, just saying that he's here to stack bodies. I fear that he's just another classic big monstrous heel that has nothing else to offer. And everyone knows how those work out. They just don't seem to work. And I don't want to put this into the future, but I feel like we're just going to get that Javon Evans and Big Cass feud that's going to go on and on and on, that's never really going to get grasped by the people, and it's slowly going to fade Big Cass away into obscurity and irrelevancy, while also kind of bringing the stock and kind of bringing the hype train down of Javon Evans. So overall, I mean, the match with Javon Evans and Ethan Page was stellar, secretly good. But as the future goes for all these three, I did not like any of the results. A short backstage segment where Roman's pretty much mad at the Bloodline for losing. And then we get LA Knight, who comes in and instigates the absolute hell out of he goes to every single individual member and calls them out, and then says that Roman's going to bend him over his knee and basically spank him. And he just trolled the Bloodline, and it was so great. He even tries to make Jey Uso flinch, and he flinches, and he just walks away laughing. Absolutely brilliant work by LA Knight. This small segment, I feel like LA Knight's slowly going to work at the Bloodline and really, really piss them off, and they're not going to be able to take care of the LA Knight's business, so Roman's eventually going to have to step up and take out LA Knight, which would obviously be the continuation of their feud. So great work by LA Knight. Small little tidbit there that I thought is there to progress the story of LA Knight and Roman Reigns. And then we get our Liv Morgan segment where she comes out with Roxanne Perez and Raquel Rodriguez, and she basically says, look, there's no contenders for me to face, and just goes on how she's the greatest women's champion of all time. So at this point, I'm getting a little bit upset because I wanted the answers right then and there of who Liv Morgan was going to face, because I don't want her to go another 3-4 months without a title defense. But anyways, we have the match with Roxanne and Soul, and let's just say this was another really good, and these two were hard hitting the whole entire match. Like, there's a cool suplex spot where Soul crosses her arms, hits her with a German suplex, a cool X Factor sequence where she goes for the X Factor, it gets reversed, Roxanne goes for a kick, and she ends up hitting her with an X Factor. And it ends with Liv Morgan trying to cheat, and she gets caught by the referee, getting disqualified, and as Soul picking up the win. And the Judgment Day begin to put a beating on Soul, and as they're kind of kicking her out of the ring, we get the music of Becky Lynch. And she immediately comes to the ring, and they start jawing at each other. And Becky says she's not here for the Intercontinental Champion. That's what everyone thought, or that's what Raquel thought. Everyone knew where she was going with this. But she was here for Liv's title, where Liv goes on and says she's jealous, and then pretty much the Judgment Day retreat. And as they're walking to the back, Becky Lynch hits some of the greatest lines that I've heard in quite some time. She goes on to say that Liv isn't even the best champion in the group, and then the best one was that Liv isn't even the best champion that has slept with Dominic Mysterio. When you get to the level that Becky Lynch is at, you can say whatever the hell you want. When you're that damn good, you have the pass to say whatever, and she just let it fly. And right as the Judgment Day is about to walk into the back, we get the boom, we get fire, and we get the return of Stephanie Vaquer, and she takes out the whole Judgment Day. And then we get the face-off between Becky Lynch and Stephanie Vaquer. This was my favorite segment of the entire night. This was gold. We have, obviously, the great match. Let's not let this get swept under the rug between Sol Ruca and Roxanne Perez. Those two put on a banger before it got disqualified. But then we get the answer everyone's all been looking for. We get Liv Morgan. She's coming to work. She's going to be on our TV because now she has a rivalry with Becky Lynch and Stephanie Vaquer. And those two faced off, and those two, there seemed to be tension there. So now I'm left to think, which way is WWE going to go? Are they going to go with Stephanie Vaquer? Or are they going to go with Becky Lynch? Or are they going to throw it into a triple threat? These are all the great problems to have. These are the problems that fans want to have. They want to have the interest, the intrigue, the mystery, the what's going to happen, who's going to do what. And we know that these three are going to be involved in the main event scene. You have an absolute superstar with Becky Lynch. When her music hit, and she's back as a babyface. She's back as a clear babyface. She said she wants to be a fighting champion. No matter what, she was going to get cheered because she's so damn good. So we have her, and then we have Stephanie Vaquer, who is also over, who's able to put on a banger match. You want Stephanie Vaquer versus Liv? We can run that. We want Stephanie Vaquer versus Becky Lynch? Run that. Those are all great matches. You want Becky Lynch versus Liv Morgan? I want to see all three of them. If you want to do one week, another the other week, and a triple threat at a pay-per-view, do it all. This is such a great problem to have for Liv Morgan because we're going to see her all the time. And the only bad part for me, as I literally just thought of, is where does Io Sky leave into all this? Because she's capable of coming back and doing. You could throw her in the mix too. So great segment for the women's world title scene here on Raw. And then we get to the Oba Femi segment. He basically comes out, shows respect to Brock, and that he says that he is now the torch, and he's going to lead the future of the business going forward. And I instantly thought of Braun Breaker. Who's going to be the one to take the torch, or trying to take the torch from Oba Femi? It should have been Braun Breaker. And as Oba Femi's leaving, we get Braun Breaker's music hits, and him and Braun have a face-off. And at this point, I'm thinking, why do this? So anyways, they continue on, and Braun Breaker has a match against Joe Hendry. He goes on to squash Joe Hendry, but before that, Braun Breaker's just staring down the aisle, looking pissed off, and like he really took the words of Oba Femi. He's really thinking about it. After the match, Theory begins to attack Joe Hendry. No one gives a shit about that. I'm going to continue with Braun Breaker here. So immediately I'm thinking, why would they just hint at it? Like, just say Braun Breaker and have that face off. Why not have Braun Breaker just completely abandon the ship of the Vision and just come out and spear Oba Femi as hard as he fucking can? Like, why not do that? Please use Oba Femi to save Braun Breaker, because it's a complete joke of what he's at. And they hinted at it, and we had a backstage segment where Paul Heyman interacts with Braun Breaker, and Braun Breaker says, "Oh, now he's best friends with Oba Femi." So why are we beating around the bush? Why are we not getting straight to the point? We should have got, you know what would have electrified everyone is if Braun Breaker just came out of nowhere, came from the side, came from behind, and just speared the hell out of Oba Femi. That is what this is the part of the show that really just gave me the ick, man. I did not like this whatsoever. Because there's no reason to hint at it. Everybody knows that Roman's going to be tied up with LA Knight for a while, so why not just throw Braun Breaker into the fire with Oba Femi and give us what we want, give the people what we want. But I think that WWE they're going to go down the path. They're just trying to delay it, trying to tease us, trying to delay Oba Femi versus Braun Breaker. But I think that's where we're going to get for the next several months while Roman's tied up, because WWE, they don't want to pull the trigger, and they don't want to do their main matches on B or CT or PLEs. They want everything to happen at SummerSlam, WrestleMania, or the Royal Rumble. It's just so bad that they have to constantly find ways to delay the inevitable, because they just don't want to put it on a lower tier show. But if WWE uses their cards right, we're gonna get Oba Femi and Braun Breaker, which I just can't wait for that. And then we get the Chad Gable segment. He comes out to a great applause. Chad Gable is over. They're singing his song. They're doing the whole hand clap thing. And he comes to the ring, and he gets me real fired up. He goes around and thanks everyone's Penta, the fans, all the people. And he promises to fight and to keep fighting for basically he really fired me up. This was a great segment great promo by Chad Gable, and it leads to Penta coming out, congratulating Chad Gable. And then we have the Judgment Day. We have Dominic Mysterio's music hits, and the Judgment Day of JD McDonough and Dominic Mysterio come and interrupt. And basically, Dom saying he's the real luchador, that Chad Gable isn't the luchador. Penta's not as good as him. And then we have JD McDonough gets on the mic, and JD McDonough was spitting facts too. He went on to say Chad Gable lost his mask versus mask match, and he's done with AAA. And then he went on to say, "Hey, Penta, Chad Gable just beat you yesterday, so what's the deal with this?" Great segment great promo by JD McDonough. He can go in the ring, and he can be lethal on the mic too. So I just want to give a shout out to them. But they eventually get into a tag match, a real fast paced good tag match. We have nasty JD McDonough does like this throw slam onto the outside of the ring. We have a Mexican destroyer onto the outside onto JD McDonough. This was just chaos. And then we have Dominic Mysterio, while the ref's distracted with what's going on the outside of the ring, put the hammer in his in his shoe, goes for a 619. He gets caught by Chad Gable. And the ref sees the bell hammer, goes to put it away, and Penta hits Dom with the Intercontinental Championship. And Gable's able to hit him with a Chaos Theory, and we have Penta and Gable pick up the win here. I thought this match was stellar. Penta and Chad Gable not just have good chemistry against each other, but in the ring as well as a tag team. They were great, and obviously JD and Dominic Mysterio do what they do. Good stuff all around. But my favorite part was They protected Dominic Mysterio with all the foolery, that he's been through with Danhausen. Not that it's all bad, in my opinion. They protected Dominic Mysterio with him taking a title shot to the head into a Chaos Theory. I thought that was something real slight that WWE did, that it does not lower Dominic Mysterio's stock to lose to the former Intercontinental Champion and the current Intercontinental Championship, and they had to cheat, basically getting their get back for Dominic trying to cheat. So this whole segment was good, and obviously we're gonna get we got a clear answer that Dominic Mysterio is back in that Intercontinental title picture. And obviously you have all the other mid-carders who can fight for that title against Gable. So I think we're in good hands in the mid-card here on Raw. Then we have the main event. We have Jacob Fatu versus Royce Keys. I was not super excited for this match. They're really trying to shove down our throats that these two were brothers. Like, they weren't brothers in WWE. No one really sees that. So the storytelling, it just doesn't hit right. But for the in-ring, it was okay. I wouldn't say it was great. I mean, they did a lot of hard spots, a lot of power slams, all this, that. They littered the chair with rings. Royce Keys did a nasty power slam onto all the chairs. But it ends with Jacob Fatu hitting a pop-up Samoan through a table that's propped up in the corner into his moonsault, and he ends up using the Tongan grip, and Royce Keys passes out, and Jacob Fatu continues the attack using the Tongan death grip, and he continues the beating by using those hip attacks into the corner, and eventually puts the chair onto Royce Keys' heads and hits that hip attack into the corner with the chair around his neck. So I'm going to give you my thoughts on this first. I don't care. I genuinely don't care. No matter how hard they try to make Jacob Fatu look like that Samoan werewolf, like that person that just doesn't give a rip, that's just an unhinged animal, in the back of my mind, I know he's just Roman's bitch. That's just what it's come down to. He lost to Roman. All that aura is gone. You can try and make him look like he's killing someone every single week, but he's always going to be that background character to Roman Reigns. So I thought this was completely unnecessary for them to essentially write off Royce Keys, who I think is now a Raw superstar, probably for a few weeks or a month or two. And it just didn't add to Jacob Fatu. But anyways, that's not where the show really got interesting near the end. Roman Reigns comes out and acknowledges what Fatu just did to Royce Keys. He gives him up the one. He shakes his head, nodding, pretty much of approval. And as Roman Reigns is going to Gorilla, he runs into Rey Mysterio of all people, and Rey Mysterio says, "You know, I'm the general manager of AAA," and to which Roman Reigns responds with, "I do now," and he says, "I need to run some things by you." Now this completely blew my mind. Now I'm interested. Now I'm intrigued. Like, what the hell could this be about? Why the hell is Rey Mysterio coming at the biggest star in all of WWE in Roman Reigns? My initial thought is that they're going to have the Usos go down to Mexico potentially and run for the AAA tag team titles. Like, that could be huge for AAA in Mexican wrestling. As someone who somewhat follows AAA, getting those two names in AAA would be monstrous. But my heart wants to believe, like, there is just absolutely no way are they going to have Roman Reigns wrestle at AAA, because their biggest show, Triple Mania, is coming up here in September, and their first main event, it's 2 nights. The first main event is here in Vegas. Would they potentially run like a Roman Reigns versus Penta at Triple Mania? I am so interested to see where this goes, because they put it at the end of the show where people are thinking that this is the main event. Like, this is something big. This is something huge. They put it at the main event of the show to end it. This is what sent us home. Now I am so interested, and I have high hopes. Like, if Roman Reigns goes down to AAA and main events one of those nights, that would be huge. The Mexican fans, the Mexican population, the wrestling fans down there would absolutely lose their minds if Roman Reigns wrestled, especially if it was against Penta for the world title. That would do numbers, and I'm telling you. But in the back of my mind, I truly think it's just going to be the Usos. But I want to see how this this forms and what's going to go on here. Hopefully the Bloodline doesn't end up taking over AAA too, because that would be kind of that'd be my one really bad thing, would be if the Bloodline took over down there. But I don't think that's going to be the case. I think AAA knows. I think Undertaker and AAA knows what they're doing. And potentially, I hope this is just a one-off for the Usos or mainly Roman Reigns to go down there and have a match. But again, this episode was just top to bottom, just was so damn good. Gave us the answers we wanted, the answers we needed, and put on some good wrestling, a great continuation. And that's not all we have. SmackDown on Friday, which that is looking so bright with all these returns. So I just can't wait and for the foreseeable future of WWE. So thanks for watching. I'll see y'all later. Have a good one.